Today we're going to start painting our sloth using two different kinds of temper paint. We have temper cakes that you have to add water to get them to work. They're a little bit like watercolors. And then we also have the regular temper paint that you do not add water to. It's already sort of a thick, gooey consistency. We also have many different sizes of brushes, so make sure that you choose the right size brush for the area that you're working on. Now I'm going to start by painting my sloth, not the cup. We're doing the sloth first. So I chose a nice medium-sized brush, and I'm going to use the temper cakes to paint my sloth because it's going to be a little bit more of a watery, drippy texture, and that's going to be really good for getting down inside these little cracks that are happening when I made my texture. So I'm just going to get some water on my brush. I'm going to put a little puddle on the color I want to use. Give it just a little gentle rub with my brush, and then I can start painting that color onto my sloth. Now, whenever you paint clay, it is really rough on your brushes if you are scrubbing hard. So we want to make sure that we're definitely not giving our brush a bad hair day. We're just gently painting the color on top. The other thing I really have to think about is I'm trying not to get too much of my sloth color on my cup. So when I paint my arm right here, I'm trying to get as much of the arm painted, but without getting it all over the cup as well. If you get a little bit on there, that's okay, because when we paint the cup later, we should be able to cover up most of that color. And when my puddle runs out, I will need to add more water so that I can keep on painting. It's also okay if you want to layer your colors on top of each other. Like maybe I want to use some of this dark brown sort of mixed in with my red brown in a few places. So you can layer as many different colors as you want to. As I'm painting, I am very, very gently turning my project around so that I can see it from every angle. Because obviously, since our sloths are three-dimensional, I have to make sure that they look good not only from the front, but also from the back, from the sides. All of my areas need to be painted. So I'm just going to keep on going with my watery tempera paint until I have filled in all of the white areas of my sloth's fur. Now that I've finished painting all of my fur, it's time to start working on the face. Now, did I get a little bit of my fur color on my cup? Yes, I surely did. Did I get every single white area on my sloth covered up? No, I probably didn't. But those little bitty mistakes are not going to be noticeable. We just do the best we can as we're painting this. Now, when it comes to the face, I'm going to switch it up and use a smaller brush. I'm going to start by painting my face a background color, and I'm going to choose to use this lightish peachy tan color, and I'm just going to paint that all over for a base color. Now, using my same teeny tiny brush, I'm going to paint those distinctive markings around my sloth's eyes. Now, this is where we have some choices. The drippy paint is a little bit tricky to use on detailed areas because it is drippy and it might go where you don't want it to go. If you are more comfortable using the gooey paint for this step, you can do so, but it is going to be a lot thicker on your project. You could also try to get your brush with a little bit of the temper cake, but just make sure that you don't get into the watery part. Just the more somewhat dry area of your paint, just outside the puddle. Now I'm going to very carefully, using my small brush, paint those shapes on my sloth. And it is a very detailed area, but I'm just going to do my best. And I got a little extra water on my brush so that I could kind of water my color down a little bit so that it would flow a little more smoothly. Just like so. And I'm going to do those markings on both sides. Now that I have the eye markings done, I'm going to use a little bit of black to do my nose, and I'm also going to go over my mouth and my eyes. If you're deciding to do this step with Sharpie, then you can just draw it on, but I'm going to actually just go ahead, I'm going to use the thicker paint for this step, and I really want to make sure that I don't get that much because it's such a tiny little detail that I really am just going to barely have any on my brush as I darken up these lines. So I'm just poking that black paint down on the inside with the teeniest, tiniest brush that I have available to me. If you make a mistake with this part, we will have to probably get some nice thick tempera paint to paint over it and then let that dry so we can fix it next time. So we really do have to be careful with this step and just make sure that we're paying attention. I'm going to leave a little shiny white highlight on my nose so it looks like he has a shiny little nose. When I'm done painting my sloth's face, I'm going to leave my project to dry. I want you to notice that on my nose, since I made the nose a three-dimensional little clay ball, I did not try to paint the whole entire nose with that little black paintbrush. I sort of just painted a circle on top of the nose, filled that in, and then I didn't really worry about getting the part down next to the face. I did that because I didn't want the black paintbrush to accidentally get any paint on my face that would look messy. So I just kind of focused on painting the top part of the nose. That's a little trick that'll make it a little easier for you. Next time you come to art, we'll be able to start painting our cup.